Beautiful people, welcome back to our channel. Today we are talking about conscious choices. Yeah, so like our channel, welcome back. So conscious choices, yeah, it is very important to actually understand. It is not the one who works the hardest. It's not about working so hard. At the end of the day, you'll find that uh, yeah, the trait of working hard is important, but in actual sense, it is a paradox of life that is not the one who works the hardest that actually is able to achieve the best or the most. There is a saying that says that you don't expect to necessarily work like an elephant and eat like an ant, right? It's just a paradox of life that sometimes those who actually do work like an ant will eventually eat like an elephant. So you have to make conscious choices that, of course, will enable you to actually eat like an elephant in life, like to eat with a big spoon, that your purposes, of course, are able to be achieved. So there is it's very important to actually understand that doing the same thing over and over it's like slavery. Like it's only a slave that does the same thing over and over. Sometimes you actually have to see what you're doing doesn't necessarily seem to be a choice you actually need to be able to let go, right? Doing things the same way sometimes in actual sense, and considering we actually in the second renaissance because of technology, clearly tells us that we have to be people are adaptable and accommodative of the new technologies and accommodative of the new opportunities and actually run with them. That it doesn't have to be like you have to do the 4 years. You have to, the way we have been told, what we were actually told by our teachers, by our parents, was actually a lie. That you take a whole 4 years for you to graduate and get a first class and get a very good job. Does that really happen? How many people get that opportunity? You work for 20 years, get a retirement, and you work like a donkey, and 20 years later you actually you climb the corporate ladder, right? In actual sense, you'll find some of the people who have actually climbed above in corporate are not necessarily the one, the most hardworking or the most intelligent. Sometimes just fate, sometimes just favor, I don't know. Sometimes just it happens, right? So you actually have at the end of the day to realize working like an elephant doesn't necessarily guarantee that you'll actually eat with a big spoon in life. So you have to make conscious choices that will actually give you pay out more, right? You have to be in a place where you don't have to believe everything that you are told. Especially, the older generation, of course, and the people are still stuck in the place where it is about saving up and retiring and sitting down and enjoying the small benefits. So we actually have to be people who learn. For example, one of the most important things to do is learn digital skills, right? Learn some of these skills that are high value skills, right? Because at the end of the day, they are what are in demand currently. What is in demand, right? Like remote work or remote working from wherever. You can actually work from wherever. That clearly tells you is the in thing, is the one thing that you can actually not overlook, right? Learn digital marketing, basically basic skills like research, drop shipping, coding, for example, writing, like for example, even writing scripts for people who do YouTube, writing proposals. I mean, learn. So number one, you're saying is adapt, change, and learn and go online and learn these digital skills that are very effective and are useful and are in demand right now. Then number two, it's important. There's actually a statistics that says freelance work since 2020 post-COVID. Actually, it has risen from the 36% to 46%, right? From that's a whole 10% growth, and remote work is actually now become a norm that you can actually work from wherever. It is projected. Actually, the creator economy is projected to double from $250 billion by the year 2028. What does that tell you? That the creative economy is the way to go. So those conscious choices, in actual sense, that's what we are saying. You have to be somebody who moves with the current situation, who is adaptable and understands that digital skills are here with us and they're here to stay, right? Yeah, so consciously you have to make that conscious decision. There's proof, there's statistics actually show that digital skills or where we are moving and the creator economy clearly is actually on a high trajectory. Then we need to also understand those small choices, those small choices. For example, actually being able to be diligent enough that you don't dwell on those instant gratifications. You don't dwell on those, for example, your social media notifications pop up, your Facebook, your TikTok, social, whatever it is, pops up, and you actually want to go and look. Somebody at work, or your neighbor, you're in business, somebody actually calling you for coffee. Those instant, or go out, those instant gratifications, in actual sense, you have to actually make a conscious choice to know that they actually don't add value in your long-term purpose. So it is actually a choice you must be able to know and discard those instant gratifications. That instant dopamine, those things that actually give you a one moment thrill, but they don't give you long-term satisfaction, are very important to actually, in the current world, to actually be conscious about and make those conscious choices, right? Then life is like a plot, is like a synopsis. It's like you're a character in your own plot, in your own synopsis. That is a storyline, that you're the main character, you're the protagonist in your story. So you can see the characters, or the choices, or the traits, the personalities, the traits that you choose. You actually had the one who has to choose them, because in any plot there is the negative and the positive. So in actual sense, you can see it is your own plot. You must be able to choose what is your story going to be like. Are you going to be diligent, hardworking, make tough choices, determined, perseverant, patient? Yes, all these characters at the end of the day are the ones that in your story of life, in your life story, will actually define you. So it is important to actually get out of your comfort zone, right? You might have trained, maybe for example, even as somebody who develops websites, or you are trained as a teacher, you are trained as a nurse, but in actual sense, remember, in actual sense, you will find that there is nobody. It is very hard to actually find somebody who is good at one particular area. You, for example, find you're a chef, but you're also good with photography, you're also good with your IT, you're also good as a writer. So you actually have to maximize on the skills and the things that you are good at, all of them. That in actual sense, you don't necessarily just have to narrow down on one particular niche, or on one particular area. That it is important to actually diversify. It's like when you are investing in stocks. When you are investing in stocks, in actual sense, you actually have to be to spread out the risk. It is important for you to go out and invest in various stocks. You don't just narrow down on one. So it's the same thing with life. You actually have to be able to diversify, basically. Then change your mind, right? Have a change of mind and attitude. That even the things that you have believed, if you look at it, for example, to pre-COVID, before COVID, 2019, 2018, people who, actually even 10 years ago, people who are doing podcasts would not have been taken as people who are very serious. It was not a serious career. But if you look at it right now, things have really changed. So it is important to actually condition your life, and be somebody who is adaptable. Be somebody who is actually adaptable and to change, right? That even in the trajectory of life, there is going to be a lot of change. There is going to be readjustments. There is going to be, of course, re-strategizing. It is important at the end of the day. Your experiences and your background do not define you. That those experiences that we have had, or even like maybe our academics, or background in terms of what we have trained, or where we are coming from, should actually not limit us. We actually have to be people who are adapting. Life can't be like we are robots. It can't be robotic. Everything can't be the way it was said. We were told to do this, go to school, get a very good job, wait, save, and retire. No, things cannot. We are not in an era like that. This is a whole new renaissance. We have to really go with the times as they are and be adaptable, right? Get out of those conditioning of life, conditioning that actually we can't be the same people who our parents were. You parent the same way. You do business the same way. If it is, for example, farming, you actually go to the farm and not use technology. If it is marketing your products or your business, you do the same way. Learn these skills, digital skills. These things actually online. For example, if you look at, for example, sites like Arison. If you're in Kenya, for example, Ajira is actually a government website that actually gives online it's a platform that actually allows somebody to be able to study on whatever it is, right? If you, for example, as you're a medic, go for example to Florence Academy. It's actually a global and it's free of charge. You can actually learn, for example, basic skills like first aid. Yeah, you can learn so all of these things. Free. You can actually go on YouTube, you can research YouTube, you can actually research. So it is important to actually get out of those comfort zone, those conditionings that you are made to believe, right? Like you actually need to understand that life is like a paradox, right? That the things we learn externally actually have an impact. They have a backing with our internal convictions. We have to be people who are um, are highly convicted, right? That our internal convictions and philosophies actually guide us. Yes. Otherwise, it would actually be meaningless and superficial to actually not take up lessons. Yes. So whatever we go through, we must be able to be people not only who we are saying who can adapt, but even our convictions. That you will notice that the paradox is that sometimes even the more you learn, the more you realize the more you don't know. So you actually, and sometimes the more you learn, the more you actually realize you need to unlearn some of these things. That is why we are saying we need to actually flow with the change, flow with the new era, the new technological renaissance, that we actually have to be people who are constantly changing. You know, the IKEA principle says that we have to be people who constantly grow and people who constantly, at the end of the day, have an impact in that regard. So we must actually dig deeper. We must dig deeper in terms of our convictions, in terms of our thoughts, so that then at the end of the day we can actually be people who are changing with the times and who are very adaptable. And that is the reason why sometimes when you begin to feel like you are galloping in the darkness, yes, it is important to know that actually the darkness is the mother, is the womb of light. Yes, that's a paradox anyway. That the things that are happening right now, you might not even necessarily understand. You probably don't have those skills that are required, that are on demand. That's why I say there are sites, there are apps. You want to actually learn a new language, for example, go to Duolingo. It's an online app that you might not necessarily understand, but you go and learn, right? So you can't actually afford to be somebody who is in the dark. It is a conscious choice to actually go and adapt and go and learn and be patient enough to actually and humble enough to admit that, for example, the skill that you have is on demand, but how do I go about it, and who needs to actually hold my hand? What do I need to do? Do I actually need to go and research? So it is important to actually look in your inward and go out and do. Then, of course, the next one is patience. We have to be patient. Yes, it will not take a minute. It will not take a week, right? Patience is very key. Don't just expect the things that we have grown up with, our experiences, what we have been told to actually be the things that have built our experiences, are inherent in us. Not inherent. They are the things that even mentally we have believed that they are in our conscious to go away within one day, right? So it is consistently, it is a habit that we have to learn to actually change. Be your like yourself, this self architecture. Be your own architect of your life, right? Because you have said life is like a plot. It's like uh, yeah, it's like a synopsis. You are your own self architecture, so you have to actually make conscious choices that, of course, you're building yourself with the best that you could actually be, right? And so the last thing we'll talk about is basically holistic development requires work, whether it is in terms of your health, whether it is in terms of your physical or mental health. Nutrients. That holistic development basically means you have to make conscious choices that are geared towards and helping you in terms of your plot or in terms of the life story, your own life story as the protagonist or the main character in your story. That you have to be somebody who builds yourself. You have to be diligent. You have to make conscious choices, sometimes very tough, but you have to be able to make those choices for holistic development. So, you guys, if you're not subscribed to our channel, please do subscribe. We love you guys. Bye.